Today, we're diving into one of the most incredible stories ever told, a journey of betrayal, destiny, and ultimately forgiveness that plays out across the ancient Near East. This is the story of Joseph and how he went from the bottom of a pit to the very heights of power in Egypt.
So where does all this drama kick off? Well, it all starts within a family. It begins with a father's love, a truly beautiful gift, and a dream so bold and frankly so provocative that just telling it would change everything forever.
You see, Joseph was only 17, but he was the clear favorite of his father Jacob's 12 sons. And Jacob didn't exactly hide it. He gives Joseph this incredible, multicolored coat, a garment that just screamed, "I'm special." For his 10 older brothers out there working in the fields, this wasn't just a piece of clothing. No, it was a constant, in-your-face reminder of their father's favoritism, and it turned all that quiet resentment they had into a full-blown fire. And then, as if the coat wasn't bad enough, Joseph starts telling them about these two dreams he had. In the first one, he sees his brother's bundles of grain literally bowing down to his. In the second, he sees the sun, the moon, and the stars all bowing to him. Now, his brothers didn't hear this as some innocent fantasy. To them, this was a straight-up declaration. Their little brother was telling them he was destined to rule over all of them.
All that simmering jealousy finally finds its moment to boil over. Jacob sends Joseph to go check on his brothers, who are out tending the flocks. They see him coming from way off in the distance, this bright splash of color against the dusty landscape. But they don't see their brother approaching, they see the dreamer. And right then and there, they decide they are going to put an end to his dreams for good. The oldest brother, Reuben, he tries to talk them down, but his voice was just drowned out by all the anger. They grab Joseph, rip that beautiful coat, the very symbol of their hatred, right off his back, and they threw him into a dry well, leaving him in the dark to die.
But then, fate, or something like it, steps in. A caravan of traders appears, heading for Egypt. Another brother, Judah, sees them and gets an idea. Hey, he says, why let him die when we could make a little money? So they drag Joseph out of that pit and sell him, their own brother. For 20 pieces of silver, that's the price they put on his life.
To cover their tracks, they do something truly awful. They kill a goat, soak Joseph's coat in its blood, and take the tattered, stained thing back to their father. They put on this whole cruel show designed to absolutely shatter him. And it works. Jacob is completely consumed by grief, convinced that his favorite son has been killed by a wild animal.
So now Joseph is in Egypt, a totally different world. He's sold as a slave to a high-ranking official named Potiphar. But after years of hardship, and I mean years, including being unjustly thrown into prison, the one thing that caused all his problems, his ability with dreams, is about to become his salvation. And in Egypt, that was a big deal. Dreams were seen as messages from the gods.
And just look at this timeline. This wasn't some overnight success story. We are talking about over a decade of his life gone, spent as a slave, then as a prisoner for a crime he didn't even commit. Can you imagine the strength it would take, year after year in a foreign land, just to hold on to a shred of hope? His comeback wasn't just a lucky break. It was forged through some serious, long-term hardship. His one big break finally seems to come while he's in prison. He correctly interprets a dream for the Pharaoh's cupbearer, who promises to remember him when he's released. But he doesn't. Joseph is just forgotten. For 2 more long years. It's only when the Pharaoh himself has a deeply disturbing dream that none of his mystics or wise men can figure out that the cupbearer suddenly goes, "Wait a minute, I remember a guy in prison." So they pull Joseph out of his prison cell and bring him before the most powerful man on earth. Now you have to understand, in ancient Egypt, the Pharaoh wasn't just a king, he was seen as a god. If he has a bad dream, it's a national crisis. For all his experts to be stumped, that's a huge problem. But Joseph, he's calm, and he explains that this isn't just a dream, it's a direct prophecy from God. 7 years of incredible abundance are coming, but they'll be followed by 7 years of a famine so terrible it will wipe out all memory of the good times. But here's the brilliant part. Joseph doesn't just deliver the scary news and walk away. He gives them a plan, a massive, nationwide solution. He suggests taking a tax during the good years, building enormous granaries to store it all, and then carefully rationing it out during the bad years. The sheer logistical scale of this plan in the ancient world is just staggering. The Pharaoh is completely blown away. He doesn't see a foreign prisoner, he sees a man with the Spirit of God in him. And in a single, breathtaking moment, he promotes Joseph from the dungeon to vizier of Egypt, basically the second in command of the entire empire. He puts his own ring on Joseph's finger, and suddenly, this former slave is in charge of saving the known world.
And Joseph's plan? It works perfectly. For 7 years, the palace becomes the nerve center of this massive operation. Scribes are everywhere, counting every bushel of grain. Granaries pop up all over Egypt. They stockpile so much food it's literally beyond measure. So, when the famine hits, Egypt becomes the breadbasket for the entire region. This beacon of hope, while surrounding lands, like Joseph's old home, are starving. And, of course, that famine eventually drives Jacob to send his 10 older sons to the one place that has food, Egypt. They have no idea who this powerful vizier is, this man who holds their lives in his hands. They're brought before this intimidating Egyptian official, completely oblivious that they are staring at the very brother they sold into slavery 20 years earlier.
To them, he's just some powerful, unapproachable Egyptian governor. And as they fall on their faces before him, begging for grain, Joseph's childhood dream, the one that started this whole mess, comes true in the most stunning, unbelievable way. The bundles of grain, now in human form, are bowing down.
Joseph recognizes them instantly. Can you imagine the storm of emotions inside him? Shock, anger, sorrow, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of pity for these desperate men who were once his tormentors. So he tests them over a series of tense meetings to see if they've changed at all. And when he's finally convinced they aren't the same cruel men from all those years ago, he reveals who he is. Not with a shout of revenge, but with tears and incredible grace.
And what he says next, it's the heart of the entire story. He tells his terrified brothers not to be afraid, that he doesn't hold any anger. He completely reframes what they did. He says their evil act wasn't something that happened to him, but something that happened for everyone. He sees their betrayal as the necessary, painful path that put him in the exact right place at the exact right time to save everyone, including them.
Joseph brings his whole family, his father Jacob included, to live safely in Egypt. He provides for the very people who tried to destroy him. It's an ending that turns a malicious crime into an act of salvation for a nation. And it leaves us with this huge question, right? Is the real power in life not the ability to get revenge, but the strength to see a bigger picture and forgive the things that seem unforgivable?